So I'm looking at the Republican convention. The Republican convention that elected Abraham Lincoln is going to do it on the third ballot. So Abraham Lincoln goes in there, and next sees Seward. Seward won the first ballot. Seward won the first ballot, and he won the second ballot. And then some guy named Cameron and Chase and Bates and Dayton and McLean and Collamer and Wade and Fremont and Reed and Sumner, they all got a vote or two. But you had Chase and Bates. Chase and Bates, who had 49 and 48 votes apiece. 49 and 48 votes apiece. 49 and 48 votes apiece. Who is this? Chase, Salmon P. Chase. Who's the Bates? Edward Bates of Missouri. Edward Bates of Missouri, the man with the big white beard. And Salmon P. Chase is the bald man with the face. So Salmon P. Chase, Edward Bates, Abraham Lincoln, and William H. Seward. William H. Seward was his opposition. So that's incredible. Lincoln showed up not knowing, not for sure if he was going to win. And it took 3 rounds of voting. He lost the first 2 rounds to that Seward. Seward. And of course, William H. Seward is that senator from New York with the hair, the sloppy hair, the sloppy face. Governor of New York, a determined opponent of the spread of slavery in the years leading up to the American Civil War, a prominent figure. And then so Abraham Lincoln is going to defeat all these guys, right? Simon, John, William, Edward, Salmon, William. Most importantly, he defeats William H. Seward, which had been President Seward. We'd have to say Seward or Seward. We wouldn't even know how to say his name. Abraham Lincoln, after he wins the election, he appoints all 4 of his major opponents to his cabinet. Seward becomes the Secretary of State. Chase becomes the Secretary of the Treasury. That Edward Bates becomes Attorney General. And that Cameron, Secretary of War. And Cameron, Secretary of War. Now I'm going to end this off with just talking about his inaugural address, 1861. Here he says this: I have no purpose, directly or indirectly, to interfere with the peculiar institution of slavery. He didn't say peculiar. But he's got no purpose, directly or indirectly, to interfere with the institution of slavery in the states where it exists. I believe I've got no lawful right to do so, and I have no inclination to do so. And those who nominated and elected Abraham Lincoln did so with the full knowledge that he had said that many times. A whole bunch of published speeches. He's not going to touch the institution of slavery, and he's going to protect the fugitive slave clause. He just isn't going to expand slavery into the West. That's it. He says there's a bunch of controversy about the fugitive slave clause. He's like, here, I'll just read the damn Constitution. No person held to service or labor in one state, under the laws thereof escaping into another, shall in consequence of any law or regulation therein be discharged from such service or labor, but shall be delivered up on claim of the party to whom such service or labor may be due. So he says, well, there it is. That's the clause in the Constitution, is it not? So everybody knows what that is. That's the fugitive slave clause. And then he says that everybody in the government of the U.S. government swears their support for the whole Constitution. So basically, he's kind of saying he hates slavery. It's disgusting. It's sickening. He wants to support the Union. He's trying to perfect the Union. That's his main goal. To be a good president, to preserve the Union. So I just thought that's interesting. He says right from the top, and then if you're an abolitionist, imagine how that hits your fucking heart. You're like, yes, Lincoln is elected, but this is brilliant. because Fort Sumter hasn't happened yet. Fort Sumter is going to happen a month after this. So the southern states are going to start attacking the federal forts. And James Buchanan wasn't fucking protecting the federal forts, so he was just letting it happen. And you had 4 or 5 states that were already seceded. They were already gone. So he's basically talking to a fractured nation to begin with. But he's still saying that he's going to, let them have their stupid slavery. But if you're an abolitionist and you read this, I got no purpose directly or indirectly to interfere with the institution of slavery in the states where it exists. I believe I've got no lawful right to do so, and I have no inclination to do so. So he doesn't have the legal right, and he doesn't have the inclination. He don't even want to do it himself, he's saying. That, if you're an abolitionist, that had to hit your heart pretty fucking tough. Now, in hindsight, it's going to be genius the way that he does it. Because by saying that he's, for the South, all these fucking causes for the fucking South, it makes the South seem so fucking racist. They're like, they want to be so racist. They want to keep their slaves, the fugitive slave clause, but they want slavery to go out into the West. It's like just the idea. What? You're trying to say that slavery is a wrong? Just that thought. Just the thought that slavery might be a wrong. Just the thought that slavery might be a wrong was enough for the fucking southern fucking states to goddamn start attacking the North. What? You think slavery might be wrong out in the West? Well, that's just not good enough for us.